Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanao Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Mavid Vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We'll chant Bhaja Govindam, verses 1 to 5.
Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Mudamate. Samprapte sannihite kale, nahi nahi rakshati dukrin karane. Moodajahi hidanagama trishnam kuru sadbuddhim manasi vitrishnam. Yallabhase nijakarmopatam vittam tena vinodaya chittam. Naristanabharanabhidesham drishtva magamohavesham. Etan savasadi vikaram manasi vichintaya varam varam. Nalini dalagata jalamati taralam tadvajjivitam atishaya chapalam. Viddhi vyadhyabhimana grastam lokam shokahatam cha samastam. Yavadvittoparjana saktaha tavan nija parivaro raktaha. Paschat jivati jarjara dehe vatam kopi na pritchati gehe.
Bhaja Govindam means seek the reality, seek the truth, worship the truth, identify with the truth, not with the non-essentials of life. He repeats it 3 times in the first shloka, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja. All of us have a physical body, mind and intellect, which is enlivened by the Atma, the reality, with which we contact the world. So when we contact the world with body, mind, intellect, at all these 3 levels, our attention should be on the reality, not on the material aspects per se. He says, wasting your time on this non-essentials is not going to help you when the appointed time comes. So he talks about the uncertainty of life and realize the worth of the time you have in hand, and then utilize it properly to achieve the goal that is worthy of a human being. You, having been born as a human being, should be clear in your head, what is it that I am seeking from womb to tomb? And I am seeking uninterrupted bliss or happiness. I am seeking Akhandananda. And if that is what I am seeking, then the question that I should ask is, where is it? Where is it located? How do I get there? What am I supposed to do to find that happiness? Right? So then you approach the Shastra, because it's like, I want to come to this class, I take the help of Google Maps. I put the address in the Google Maps, it brings me here, tells me 3 different routes, but then which is the best route today, which avoids congestion, So then I take that route. Similarly, Shastras help us like that. Guru help us in guiding us towards that self. And all the Shastras, Guru have mentioned time and again that the bliss that you are seeking is your true nature. It is within you. Arthur Schopenhauer says, it is difficult to find happiness within, but it is impossible to find it elsewhere. So therefore, once you understand this, you are clear in your head, then your journey should be to get back to the self, to reveal the self, to realize the self. And therefore, you have to use the assets you have, whether it is material or physical or emotional or intellectual, to get to that self. So, to survive, you need to contact the world. You do all that, but understand, as long as I live, I need to utilize all these equipments to get back to the self. So therefore he says, when the appointed time comes, nothing that you have collected here will help. And then he talks about the two main distractions, which takes us away from the main goal. The main goal is self. The two main distractions are acquisition and enjoyment. Because today we do not know that we are that infinite bliss, we are that truth which is complete. We imagine ourselves to be incomplete, limited. And through that incompleteness that we feel within, our thoughts run towards the world outside. We imagine this ego personality which is limited and insecure. So to feel complete, our thoughts run towards the world. Then we want to acquire, contact what we acquired and enjoy and feel secure. But the very objects and beings of this world being impermanent, how much ever we contact, it won't be enough. So our whole life is consumed by this simple thing of acquiring, enjoying. And initially we seem to enjoy, over a period of time we get neutralized. With it we are not happy, without it we are miserable. So therefore he talks about wealth and enjoyment also, and then tells us wealth is needed when you survive. Right? Wealth is needed when you survive. And you will also have to contact the world and let that contact be enjoyable also. But how to draw the wealth from the world? How to enjoy the contacts? He teaches that in verse number 2 and 3. He says in verse number 2, in short what he says as a summary, if you see, instead of creating the thirst for wealth, which is there already now in you, you should now focus your attention towards the higher. O fool, give up your thirst for aggrandizing wealth. He's not saying getting wealth. He's not against courting wealth. But that craving, the thirst that you have and run, that you should control. And then what? We mentioned in the class that the principle of attachment is you get attached to the higher, then you get detached from the lower. So you have to create the thought of reality in your head through the help of Shastra and Guru and good satsang. And slowly pitch up that higher goal and function for that. Then whatever comes when you pursue the higher goal, accept that and be contented with that and continue in life. See, this way what happens is your mind becomes calm and you will be dynamically functioning. As a result, you will be exhausting your vasanas also, desires also, and you will be also getting the wealth, but as a byproduct. You understand? Pursuing the wealth is not the main agenda. Wealth then would become the byproduct. Because of this approach, you would have focused and implemented your actions perfectly. As a result, you will actually get in abundance. So therefore he says, be content with what you get as prasad and then continue towards the goal. This is how you are supposed to draw wealth from the world. See, there is enough wealth in the world, but you do not know how to draw it and how to contact and enjoy it. And then when it comes to enjoyment, he takes the example of the highest enjoyment. Since he is discussing to all the disciples who are men, he gives the example of a woman. If it was women, he would have given the example of a man. Because in the contact with the opposite sex, all the five senses are involved. So it's the highest level of sense indulgence. So he takes that and says, look at that experience. You are now running after that enjoyment as if the joy is coming from the object. But look at it from a different angle. Little bit pause. That mad rush should be controlled. And ponder over what you are trying to do. So he says, when you do that, it's called Pratipaksha Bhavana in Sanskrit. An intellectual re-evaluation of your pursuit or contact from a different angle. You take a step back and analyze. What is it that I am courting? It is nothing but modification of flesh and bones, fat. It's beautifully covered by smooth skin. Otherwise, what is there inside? You will not want, if supposing you see the skinned body, you will run away. Isn't it? So, look at it from a different angle. And also you are saying it's attracting. Find out what is attracting. So we explained last week, what is really attracting is not the deteriorating component in it. It is the Atma that is beautifully reflected now. Isn't it? That's why I gave the example of a fruit which decays in a day or two. Then it is not attractive anymore. You throw it. But when the fruit is fresh, it has the ability to attract you. Why? Because of its ability to reflect the self. Are you with me? So when something is attracting you, honestly speaking, it is not the deteriorating component that is attracting you. And today you are imagining that it's the deteriorating component. And therefore you are glorifying it. See, Vedanta also talks about taking care of your body. It's very important. I'll explain. In one of the, invocations, he says, may you live 100 years. Take care of your body. But to get back to the self. Not as if body is everything and spend 8 hours on the body every day. Not in that sense. But unfortunately, it has become like that today. Isn't it? The amount of time we give to the body to beautify it. Therefore, he says, you understand that there is this Atma that reflects through the body, mind, intellect. That is what is attracting you. And the same body starts deteriorating, not attracting anymore. Why? Because the subtle body is slowly losing its capacity to reflect the self as much as it did in the past. And extend it to the death. In the death also there is Atma. In the sense in the dead body. Consciousness is there. But there is no reflecting medium for it to reflect. Isn't it? Therefore it's not attractive anymore.
There is no subtle body at that time.
So the subtle body is the one which is reflecting the consciousness. Therefore you are attracted. Otherwise you are not attracted.
But Guruji, the Atma is the same, whether it is in a fruit that is ripe.
Yeah, but when the fruit starts deteriorating, the freshness is not reflected. Na? Atma is pure.
Yeah, it is the same.
The consciousness is unconditioned, pure.
Yeah.
When the component which is technically deteriorating in nature, before deterioration, it reflects it fully.
Right.
As it starts deteriorating, it cannot reflect as much as it did in the past. So therefore, you start losing attraction towards it. You go towards another fruit which is fresh. You go towards another person who is young.
But Guruji, the thing is that if you see someone who is enlightened or someone who is a saint, they are very old people, but they are very attracted to them. So it is the Atma that...
Because of the sharpness of the subtle body.
Yes.
It's through the tapas.
Yeah.
See, I explained this to you. Even at the physical level, when somebody does tapas,
Right.
maintains the body so well with so much of exercise and decent diet and all that, then even though they are old, they will be more attractive. Why? Because they've maintained it. Nah? That's what I'm trying to say. Whatever may be the case, the deterioration can be slowed, but it will still be deteriorating. Even a Mahatma's body when it dies,
Right.
it is not attractive.
No, but the Mahatma when he's alive...
That
the
is what
last
I'm
thing
trying
is
to
very attractive.
tell. Because of the tapas, he maintains the subtle body and the purity because of which the self reflects beautifully. There is no selfishness. There is only innocence.
Right.
There is no scheming and all that. That negative emotions, which generally when we are too selfish, it covers the Atma. Then you get repulsed away from that person. Are you with me? So what are these qualities that reflect? See, when a person is extremely sacrificial, he or she attracts. Now, there was this recently in the sense, in 1 or 2 years ago, there was this movie, a Hindi movie, about one Vijay or somebody, his name is, the captain or major who died for India at the Kargil war, during the Kargil war. There was this Hindi movie also, Sher Shah, very popular, right? So many people were attracted. The sacrifice, which is what? Rising above the ego, the self. So, in different ways, when you analyze, what is really attracting you is the Atma. You understand? Nothing else. But unfortunately, you are thinking it's coming from the body because it's when it's reflected. You're thinking it's coming from the mind when it's reflected. You're thinking it's coming from the intellect when it's reflected. But actually, it is coming from within. None of these components. So, if you really understand, then you will not unnecessarily develop that moha. Moha means, moha literally translates to delusion. What it means, an exaggerated value you have kept on it.
Sorry, I want to just come back to once again. So there are two bodies. One is a gross body, one is a subtle
Gross body, subtle body, causal body.
No, when this attraction thing that you're talking about, like the Atma the same, the Atma is the same.
See, Atma is same, pure. When the subtle body, okay, now you take the example of a pond. Sun above reflects on all the ponds. But there are dirty pond, there are clean pond, there are pond which is completely covered with green mantle. So in the pond that is completely covered with green mantle, Atma doesn't reflect at all. So an extremely egoistic, arrogant, ignorant person, you will seem like a stone, not attracting. I don't know how to do anything with him. Why? Because the self is completely covered. You understand? Then you come to dirty pond. Thoda selfish hai, but better than the other fellow. Little bit more attractive. You come to another person whose subtle body is very pure. No selfishness whatsoever. Selfless, which is what you talked about Mahatma. He is attractive. Why? What is attractive in that? That selflessness, which is Atma. You understand? The purity when it manifests. So anywhere when it purely manifests, it attracts. Are you with me? As it starts deteriorating, it doesn't attract. So that is why I am saying you need to do this analysis of the deteriorating component, changing component, volatile component, and the non-volatile, unchanging, permanent. You understand? Then identify with that. Then you won't get deceived by anything. This is nothing but Atma Anatma Vivek.
So what I want to ask is that, what if the gross body is deteriorated, but the subtle body is very pure?
Still that person will be more attractive, na? In the case of
supersede
compared to the other fellow whose subtle body is also deteriorated, who's extremely egoistic, selfish, and the body is also deteriorated. Compared to him, you find, if supposing in a Mahatma, as the Mahatma ages and the body has become little old, skin has become loose and all that, relatively not able to communicate that fast as he or she would have done before in the past, still that person is very attractive because of the purity that they express, na?
Yeah.
You understand?
But does the subtle body supersede the gross body?
Obviously. 100%. In fact, when your subtle body is pure and see, we have always mentioned to you in the classes that subtle controls the gross. Gross cannot control the subtle. Gross can be conducive for the help of growing the subtle, subtilizing the subtle more and more. But it cannot be that gross controls the subtle. So, to your question, when the subtle body is become pure, due to the law of nature, the body will start slowly deteriorating. Understand? But the fact that the person's subtle body is purified so much through the tapas, that person will still be attractive from the quality point of view. But a person who is extremely gross, who can't even get to the level of quality and all, then that body is not attractive. He is only looking at the body. You get what I'm saying?
So it also depends on the person who's looking at you.
Obviously, because the person is at the gross level. But if you really analyze what is attracting, see, in short, what I'm saying is, array, 1 minute, in short, what I'm saying is, brass vessel is, one is clean and shining, right? But it's a very small brass vessel worth only 2000 rupees, let's say. There is another brass vessel which is clean and, the brass vessel which is clean and shining, is small, only 2000 rupees worth. Another brass vessel which is 2 lakhs worth, but it's covered by dust. It's, what do you call, oxidization has happened. Understand? Now, somebody who is gross, I'll take the shining one. Somebody who's sharp, he says, I'll take that 2 lakhs one. Why? Because I can clean it up. You understand? It's like that. End of the day, you choose according to your wisdom. Na? That's what he's saying. If you are unwise, you will choose the body, mind and intellect. If you are wise, you will choose the Atma. Choice is yours. That's what he's explaining. Pratipaksha bhavana. In fact, it's not only with reference to sense indulgence, any contact. Look at it from a totally different angle. Something is breakable. You take care of it as much as possible. You understand? But in spite of it, it is breakable. One day it will break. Either you break or somebody else break. You understand? That doesn't mean anyway it has to be broken, so every day one by one I'll break. You take care of it. But you have placed the right value. It is breakable, so it's broken. I will take care, but in spite of my taking care, one day it may break, so it's okay. So when you understand that, you place the right value, then it won't affect you anymore. But today, without that Pratipaksha Bhavana, you have tremendous value for it. See, you ask this question, na? When things are affecting you, it is affecting you because you have placed a certain value. So when you value, you got to ask question, how did you value that? You know, when you're all from the business family, when you sell your business, there's a value that you put, na? Usually there is discussion. You say this many crores, then the 2-3 companies that has come to buy, they also come through consultants. So they do their due diligence, they see your balance sheet, this, that, ye, wo, karke, nahi, it's not worth this much, you have to thoda sa reduce. Then you finally say okay, and you sell, na? Have you done that? That is what he's asking. You are now running like a mad fellow. Did you do that? Did you do that analysis? Then you will have the right value, not exaggerated value. Otherwise, anybody says anything, you will buy, na? Because you don't know the meaning of it. I mean, you don't know the worth of it, sorry. Therefore, you will pay and buy. This is what you're doing. So much time, effort. See, any product actually that you have with you is actually nothing but your energy. You understand? Your energy spent, your means your or your families or somebody. Supposing you inherited from your grandparents. The grandparents' energy, your entire family's energy. They had put in their sweat and toil, their time and effort, and then earned that money and bought this product. So what is that product? End of the day, it's nothing but that time and energy, na?
Yeah.
You understand? So, you spent so much time and energy and you've got one product. Thinking what? That this product will protect you. While that product itself needs protection. That's what he's explaining. So that product can help you to lead a certain way of living. Like Swami Ramtita says, iron and gold is good for buying iron and gold. Iron and gold itself cannot bring you happiness. Remember, in our classes we say, wealth can give you option. Wealth cannot give you happiness. Happiness is to do with your mind, state of mind. Today you are happy and you have money, you can celebrate that happiness going to Alps. If you are happy and you don't have money, you have to celebrate that in Delhi only. Similarly, sadness also. If you are sad, if you had money, you can go to Alps and be sad. You have no money, it will be sad in Delhi itself. That's all. But money is not going to improve your happiness or anything. You understand? So therefore, if you understand and place the right value, then the delusion will not be there. You remember another name for Bhaja Govindam we said was Moha Mudgara. It hammers out the delusion. Because of unthinking approach, we have got so much of attachment to all this stuff. Now if you sit down and start doing analysis, slowly you lose attachment to that. I told you, even peer pressure. If you have a thinking, if you are a thinking person and you do proper thinking, you may be in a particular society, but you thought about it and you said, yeah, listen, end of the day, the handbag is meant for carrying certain things. So why do I want to torture certain animals to get their skin to have an handbag? You've thought about it. You are very clear now in your head. Let's say you are like that. And therefore, not because you cannot afford to have handbags, different handbags for different occasions, but you are very clear, right? I don't want to unnecessarily do this. So you have a particular handbag or few handbags which are not so expensive, and maybe there is a group with whom you've been relating only values such a thing, but you will be very comfortably walking into that group and be comfortable there. Why? Your life is now based on your conviction, not on others' dictation. When you have not thought about it, then it will be based on others' dictation. That is peer pressure, no? Oh, everybody brings such handbags. What is this, all this? I cannot go without it. I have to go with that kind of handbag only. So which means what? You are not thinking and leading your life. You are being led by the mob. That's called peer pressure, no? So when you sit and do the analysis, then there is no peer pressure. Therefore, Adi Shankaracharya here, the Guru, is telling us to do this Pratipaksha Bhavana, so that we don't madly run. And the interesting thing is, when we do that and have a correct value, then we have to contact and enjoy. Our mind will not be running to the enjoyment. It will be in the present contact. As a result, I will be enjoying it more than everybody else. I gave the example, no? There are enough sweets, but somebody is so greedy that they want to eat more and more sweets. So they are almost swallowing it. They are not really registering the taste of it and enjoying it. There's another person who is not in such a hurry. He eats it so consciously, with so much awareness. You understand? Then that person will be enjoying, even though he might have had less quantity than the other. So who is really enjoying? So when the mind is developing an undue value, you lose your capacity to earn wealth, you lose your capacity to enjoy also. This is what he is saying. So now all this tamasha, that running after the material wealth and enjoyment as an end all and be all of life, for what? He's asking in the next verse. Do you even understand the most important aspect of your life, which is uncertainty? Are you really... See, you may know about it. See, we say in Vedanta, when you know, but you are not living it, you actually don't know. It's like you say, I know that I've reached the cliff, but you're continuing to walk. You're about to take one more step. Will you be called as a knowledgeable person thereafter? You idiot, they'll say, isn't it? You are saying, I've reached the cliff, I know that. But you're taking one more step. Similarly, you know very well that potassium cyanide is poisonous, but you're keeping it next to your salt bottle in the kitchen. So that means you don't know. You understand? So therefore, knowledge or wisdom is when you live it. Otherwise, it's not knowledge or wisdom. Generally, to differentiate, we use knowledge as information, wisdom as transformation. But sometimes we use it as synonyms. I used it as synonyms now.
You had said that in attraction, you will say you will choose Atma as a...
If you are wise.
But Atma is the same in everyone. There is no difference.
Correct.
Right?
So therefore you will...
Actually, you should choose a subtle body. Because the subtle body is what is different in everyone.
You're not understanding. It is when you choose the Atma means when you are identifying with the Atma, you purify the personality. As the personality is purified, as the personality is purified, your thinking becomes clear, your mind becomes more pure emotions, and intellect becomes, body starts doing unselfish, selfless actions, not selfish. Unselfish, selfless actions.
Are you saying that Atma...
As you gain more and more knowledge about Atma,
As you gain more and more knowledge.
what happens? You will get more clarity, na? At the intellect level. And you will have pure emotions, right? You will have love, not attachment. You will have kindness, compassion. Isn't it? Which is what subtle body is. So to improve the subtle body, if you get closer and closer to the Atma, you will improve all the three personalities. Such persons will not be indulging in life. Are you with me?
Guruji, to choose an Atma, you need to
Choose-
be able to see it, right?
Not.
You need to identify with it. But if you are so gross...
That is why we say, if you sit and think, then you understand, then you will start pursuing that. Then you will say, okay, what do I have to do? Then Vedanta says, do karma yoga, do bhakti yoga, do jnana yoga. You will start doing that. As you start doing that, you will be developing more and more clarity. Your emotions will become more pure. Your actions will become more and more unselfish and selfless. That will be more attracting. But still there may be few grass fellows who may not see it. That's a different thing. But you are not here to attract anybody.
Yeah.
You understand? But what I am saying is, when you really do the proper thinking, you understand really, when I am pursuing an object, really what am I pursuing? I am actually pursuing only Atma. I am not pursuing the object. But I am duping myself to believe that I am pursuing the object because that is giving me joy. It is not. If it was, it should give joy to everybody. It is not. I gave the example of cigarette now. If it's giving joy, it should give joy to everybody. There are people who run away from smokers. Right? So it's not in the object. You remember that example we said. You see, your mind is now peaceful, happy, calm, blissful. Suddenly in that mind, desire comes for cigarette or alcohol or chocolate, whatever it may be. Cigarette. You can't wait till you smoke now. Because let's say you have to go to the airport, travel in the car for 2-3 hours to get to the airport. And you just left on time, so you don't have much time to get down and smoke. So 3 hours you reach there, and then you have to finish off your checking in, security clearance, get to the gate. And you hardly have time now to enter the flight. But now, once you enter the flight, which is for another 8 hours, you can't smoke. So have you seen such fellows? They'll be looking for where this smoking cabin is. And when they're smoking also, they're not smoking, they're eating the cigarette. Because there's a last and final call. Last and final call is going on. They're going on eating the cigarette. They're swallowing the cigarette. Right? And then quickly they throw, and then they run. And all the time the flight also they're thinking about cigarette. So what is happening? When such kind of a craving is there, you get the object and you temporarily feel happy. So now you think the object brought the joy. But did the object bring the joy? Object only, or the contact with the object only, removed the agitation created by the desire for the object. When the agitation is temporarily subsided, you came in contact with the bliss which you were experiencing before, which is coming from within. But by the time you register the bliss, your mind is interpreted it wrongly, saying that it came from the object. Okay? And now what happened? Dil mange more. Aur chahiye. Thoda aur. Thoda. Again run again. Because you are going on thinking it's coming from there. Vedanta is saying, Arey Baba, pause and think. Swamiji gives this example. Everybody believes that light comes from the moon at night. So many songs are there. Isn't it? On the moon and its beauty and its giving light and all that. Now, we know now that is the light coming from the moon? It is the sun's light that is getting reflected through the moon. Similarly, the objects are only reflecting the bliss of the self. But you get duped and you are running after it. So be careful. And without understanding the uncertainty of life, you are continuing this game of chasing the material wealth and enjoyment. That he says in the next sloka. Otherwise, why will you do this? If you know that sometimes it happens, in some people's case, when they are diagnosed with a certain disease at the last stage, like cancer. They say it's a fourth stage, very, very advanced stage. Maybe another 1 or 2 weeks. They say that person can survive maximum 2 weeks. If you come across such a person, you don't wish such a thing to happen to anybody. But when you come across, that person's priority would have changed. Because they know the seriousness of the time in hand. So they'll say, I don't want to waste it in all these frivolous things. Isn't it? That's what he explains in the next sloka. You are not realizing it, therefore happily you are indulging in this world. Sloka number 4.
नलिनी दलगत जलमति तरलम तद्वज्जीवितमतिशय चपलम विद्धि व्याध्यभिमानग्रस्तं लोकं शोकहतं च समस्तम्.
A beautiful example Adi Shankara gives us to make us understand this phenomenon of life. Nalini dalagata jalam ati taralam. Ati means extremely tharalam, unsteady. What is unsteady? Water on lotus leaf. Few drops of water from the pond floats on the lotus leaf which is there in water. And the lotus leaf's surface is greasy. So it's like mercury on paper. So that's what he's explaining here. Water on lotus leaf is extremely unsteady. So also is life very unstable. When the drop will go into the pond back, nobody knows. The drop you think will take another 10 minutes may go first. The drop you thought will go immediately may take 20 minutes. Nobody can predict anything. Isn't it? it is extremely unstable. From the total pond water, few drops. So from the total, this microcosm, this individual, is on this lotus leaf, this beautiful, attractive lotus leaf. In this world, we are all going like this. Any minute, it can fall back, he says. So also this life is very unstable. Understand that the entire world is consumed by disease and conceit. Disease at the physical level. Conceit means much pride. Too much of self-opinion about ourselves. We have, no? I've done this, I've done that. Nobody recognizes it. This I've done, that I've done. So much. This individual has so much of self-pride. While our contribution with reference to the total is nothing. It's really nothing. Literally nothing. And even that little contribution is also because the Atma is enlivening us. You remember that story in Kena Upanishad? Forgot, no? So, Kena Upanishad story, what did he say there? He says that Devas and Asuras were at war. And with the help of Brahman, Devas conquered Asuras. But Devas forgot that. And then they were celebrating. And Brahman wanted to teach them a lesson. So the Brahman appears as an apparition in the sky. Seeing that the Devas had a yar, still there is some enemy left. Insecurity is there. So they said, so Agni Bhagavan goes, Vayu Bhagavan goes, they come back. First Agni goes, comes back. Vayu goes, comes back. Then Indra goes, and then out of humility he surrenders. Then he gains the knowledge about Brahman and all that. So we studied there. And then in the 10th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, which is called as Vibhuti Yoga, Yoga of Supreme Manifestation, Yoga of Supreme Glory. Whatever glory is there in this universe is actually the glory of the self. Whatever glory may be there in the world is the glory of the self. But we think it is my glory. I did it. If the Atma was not enlivening, what you could have done? Forget that. You say, sir, today's class was very good, sir. Excellent. I must tell within me, thanks to my Guru, thanks to the Guru Parampara. Of course my effort is there, but my effort is just a small drop in comparison to my Gurus, the Guru Parampara. That much humility should be there. You understand? But I think everything is mine. I have done it. Then we get into this personality worshipping. Personality worshipping. Swami Ramtirtha therefore says, message is delivered, kill the messenger. Don't take it literally. And then, sir, after the class we'll kill you. Understand? So message is delivered, kill the messenger. The postman comes and delivers the letter. Be grateful to him, say thank you. Sometimes you tip him, give him some gifts on some Diwali or something. You are grateful for him doing that. But you are not stuck with the postman. You have to read the letter and reply. Isn't it? Therefore, understand that. Glory belongs to the divinity. So, we have this so much of conceit, exaggerated value about ourselves. I can do this, I can do that. Especially when we are young, when we are wealthy, when you have too much following. That he condemns later on. This is a very dangerous thing. Have you seen this mob psychology? Students also, one by one, they going from their house to the college. Each one is coming from different place. Right? And they all come and wait in one particular bus stand. Right? Everybody is coming from different areas. They all come and get together in one bus stand. And they start doing all kinds of tamasha there. And they get into the bus and then now they become too many people. Nah? So they think they can do many things. You understand? So, similarly, I have a lot of wealth. I'm young, yeah. बोलिए जो भी I will do it for you. जितना चाहिए, I'll write a check. You understand? भगवान ने आपको दिया, वो thought has to be there in you. I am the trustee. As a trustee of Bhagavan, I am now giving it. And other it's given for me to distribute it for the growth of everybody. So I have to use it carefully. Not think that it's mine. But that doesn't happen. मेरा है. बोलिए सर, जो चाहिए. Suddenly we slip into that conceit, na? That pride. And that gives us a tapad. Especially, Swamiji gives in the book also the example of sportsmen. When they're young, they come into the limelight. And incredible following they get. It's crazy. I don't know whether you've been to any sports stadium to watch any live match. It's crazy. You go to India, IPL is coming now. You go and see. If you are a follower of RCB, Virat Kohli, they'll bring down the whole stadium down. If you're a follower of Chennai, Dhoni, you will be finished. And all kinds of music is played, people get excited, So, that's the kind of following. Right? And how long does it last? How long? Already slowly, in the cricket team, if you see in India, the two youngsters who have come and they are doing very, very well. Shubman Gill and Yashasvi Jaiswal. Slowly you know that now their era is starting. As long as they follow the disciplines and everything correctly, like Kohli, Dhoni and all. So once upon a time, Kapil Dev. Right? We remember the notebooks used to come with Kapil Dev with his ball closer to his chin with his action. Isn't it? Notebooks.
Yeah.
When we used to buy for the schools. Right? Now if Kapil Dev comes, nobody cares. Once in this Delhi airport, many years ago, I was walking out and Kapil Dev was also walking out. From different flight was coming. Hardly anybody. No crowd, nothing. But that was not the case when they won the World Cup and came back to India. Inch by inch the bus was moving to get back to the stadium or wherever they were going. So, in short, what he wants to say is, all this is temporary, man. The sooner you rise, the sooner you fall. He is not asking us to be so pessimistic and keep on talking, everything is consumed by disease, everything chale jayega, pura life barbad ho jayega, and then go and commit suicide. That is not what he is saying. What he is saying is, be prepared. Bhaja Govindam says, before the eventuality comes and threatens you, you be ready for it. Usko tata bye bye pehle se bol dijiye. You understand? Swami Chimanandaji nicely puts it in a very humorous way. Before your spouse kicks you, you kick the spouse. Kick the spouse mentally. Don't go home and do it literally. And then come and tell me that, sir, you only told, now I'm kicked out of the house. So, the point is, mentally the exaggerated value you've kept, na? ये सब शोबाजी है, एक दिन चले जाएगा. Have you seen all these grand wedding places? When you are entering, there's so much of decoration, fresh flowers, this thing, that thing. You don't feel like getting out of the place. Go there next day. Slowly everything is removed. So pathetic it looks. And some of the places, they've nicely covered up with the interior decoration, So what is that side you don't see? Next day when you go, when the things are removed, Arey Baba, this place only they had wedding or what? Then only you will come to know. You understand? This is what is happening in us. So it is extremely, extremely unstable. Nalini dalagata jalamati taralam. Tattva jivitam atishaya chapalam. That's how this jivita, this life is also, man. This jivitam is also chapalam. Very, very unstable. Atishaya chapalam. Who knows? We all know that we have come with an expiry date, but we just don't know what the expiry date is. Right? So once we understand this, then we know that the body will have to go through the metamorphic changes. So there will be disease. Right? And then every day there is something or other. Hiccups, coughing, headache, migraine, sinus, this, that. So many, every now and then there is onslaught of disease that we keep on fighting with. Similarly, there are a lot of things that happens at the mind level. Mind goes through various modifications, then we are fighting with the mind. And all this is bringing us sorrow. That's why he says, is smitten with sorrow. Smitten with sorrow. See, why he wants to say that is to make us understand so that we don't go astray in life. It is so unsteady. So what do? The time in hand is the only thing you have. So use it to the best of your ability for the goal you think is worthy of chasing. That's all he's saying. If you actually look at it, that is what Bhaja Govindam is saying. Seek the reality. Seek the truth. Get to that path. Why are you meandering? Don't meander. The whole world is consumed by disease and conceit. At the mental level, conceit. Disease at the physical level. Constantly, See, this body we just studied in Tattvabodha is the product of the food digested by the parents. Is maintained by the food that you consume, and it is food for the other species, right? So what is happening there? Slowly the body, since it's food sheath, it will have deterioration. As it has deterioration, all kinds of problems. Understand? Calcium कम हो गया, vitamin D कम हो गया, B12 कम हो गया, पता नहीं क्या क्या कम हो गया. You understand? And then to get that tested, one fat bill they'll give you. You understand? From head to toe, complete body, this thing, that thing. So this in the sense, what he's trying to say is, please understand, this is how body will go through life. It will have periodic onslaught of disease. You solve one, another one. Solve one, another one. That doesn't mean don't solve. That's not what he's saying. Since that is how it is, one day it will be conquered. All that you are so proud of, that also one day will leave you. So, now what do? Now you spend that time usefully. Otherwise, when you lose everything, it's such a sad thing. That's what I told you. When you have been in such a fame, and suddenly nobody looks at you, when you go through that, you will know. Like they say about Rajesh Khanna. When he was in his peak, everywhere there, somebody was talking on the TV the other day. Wherever he went during his peak for his shooting, there'll be thousands of women following, young women. Here, there, everywhere. Afterwards, when he lost his fame, nobody bothers. When you've gone through such a fame and to lose it, it's such a great fall. Like in these theme parks, like Disney World and all that, they have this rides, Like there is one ride which you have to go and sit on the chairs that is provided at the seats, and they put the belt and all that, and then they'll take you up It's a hydraulic equipment, you know. The machine will take you up slowly. It will take. Easily you're seeing everybody from that. I don't know how tall that is. Maybe some 100 floors building equal or what, I don't know. From there, suddenly before you realize, they drop you. You'll have butterflies in your stomach. And they release you. It's like that, you're slowly going up and then falling down. He's going to talk about that falling from all angles. From the material wealth angle, from the physical health angle, from the emotional relationships angle, from the intellectual respect, regard, value angle, from all these angles. So, when you are therefore slowly moving towards the height of all that, you should invest in the spiritual, which is permanent. So, jitna, how much sattva, rajas, tamas you've managed, how much sattva you increased, how much rajas you reduced, how much tamas you eliminated. You know, you got to understand that. Because that's what is important. That's what is going to come with you. Nothing else is going to come with you. So you keep on doing that calculation. To keep on doing the calculation means keep on working at it. Because anytime anything can happen. So tonight when you go to sleep, just if you want to take accounts of your life, have I reduced rajas and tamas? Have I increased sattva? Then I've lived my day perfectly. That's what he's saying. Otherwise, when you had everything and you lose it, see, first of all, the very pursuit is very painful. And there's no guarantee that you will get it. So that is even more painful. Then somehow, after so much of hard work, you get it. There's no guarantee that you will retain it. So that no guarantee goes on haunting you with so much of sorrow. And then when actually you lose it, you're gone. You're finished. You understand? That's what he's saying. So that is the sorrow he's talking about. It's smitten with sorrow if you are continuing to identify with the body, mind, intellect. But if you understood all this and you are prepared mentally and you are only dealing with them with your left hand, meaning jitna importance unka de usko dena denge. I remember one gentleman was in a very high position in the government departments. So for some of our work, we need to meet so many people. So once I had gone to meet the gentleman, it's a perfect Vedantin, very calm, serene person he is. He said, see, I am retiring in 2-3 months' time. In that department, he is the highest level. I am retiring in 2-3 months' time. When I leave this office, and next day, for whatever reasons, if I had to make a phone call and I make a phone call to my office people, some people may not even lift the phone to answer my call. This is life. So the real value is for the kursi, not for me. I must understand that. It's for the chair, not for me. So the power is coming from where? So what is life? Again, Swamiji gives a nice interesting example in his books. You see, when you go to buy a bulb in the shop, when you buy the bulb, you say 100 watts bulb de do. Does it glow when he gives the bulb? It doesn't. Right? You connect the bulb, you test it out before bringing it to your house. He will have a socket there, you put it in and switch on. Then it will glow. So, when the electricity passes through the tungsten filament in the bulb, then the expression of light. Are you with me? Similarly, this body is the bulb. Tungsten filament is the subtle body. In that example. When electricity, the Atma, expresses through the subtle body and the gross body, there is life. When the tungsten filament will give up, we don't know. Right? As per our karma. Prarabdha karma. We studied, no. When it will give up? We don't know. It may give up any time. Then what will happen? That expression of light, that life will not be there. So when this expression of life, that light is there, and it's shining through this body, mind, intellect, if I identify with the body, mind, intellect as an end all and be all of life, then my life will be smitten by sorrow. If I identify with the Atma, then it won't be smitten by sorrow. That's all. So this discrimination we need to do and rightly invest in our essential self. This is what he says. Be prepared. Before the world kicks you, you kick it. You kick it means mentally lose the value for it or place the right value for it. When you have placed the right value for it, it cannot give you sorrow. This is giving you sorrow today because you have not placed the right value. Today I had to come to this class at 11:30. Class, I generally try to come 10-15 minutes early so that I can relax and then start the class. Today the driver was not there, so I had to drive myself. So I said, let me leave well in advance, and left around 9:55. Just about managed to reach here 10 minutes ago. Because I did proper assessment. This is in spite of Google telling you it will take only 55 minutes. Because in between, because the distance is so much, sometimes the traffic jam happens. Suddenly. Which Google can't predict, right? So what I'm saying is, when you have a proper assessment, there is no undue expectations. When there is no undue expectation, there is no disappointment. So when he says, this life is smitten with sorrow for a person who has no assessment or wrong assessment. Lack of assessment or wrong assessment. As a result, what happens? Undue expectation. And with undue expectation, you will have disappointments, which is sorrow. So what you do? Do right assessment. He's telling you. You have come into this world, na? Do proper assessment about your body, about your mind, about your intellect, about the wealth, about the name, fame, about the relationships, about everything. And then live life. Then you will not have this sorrow. Then you will not have this pride. If you have given into attachment to the body or the ego, then there will be sorrow. Through identification with the Atma, if you have not given into the attachment to body and ego, body, mind and ego, then there is no sorrow. So, the samsara is this only. That is why he says, this is why, that's why it's called as knowledge of life and living. Vedanta is nothing but life management. So very, very interesting words here. Water on a lotus leaf is extremely unsteady. So also is life very unstable. We have no idea. So therefore he says, utilize the time positively. Don't unnecessarily get involved. As if acquisition and enjoyment is end all and be all of life. We'll conclude. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Kayena Vacha Manasendriyairva Buddhyatmana va Prakrite Swabhavat Karomi Yadhyad Sakalam Parasmai Narayanayeti Samarpayami. Hari Om. that, and then they'll take you up. It's a hydraulic equipment, The machine will take you up slowly. It will take. Nicely you're seeing everybody from that. I don't know how tall that is. Maybe some 100 floors building equal or what, I don't know. From there, suddenly before you realize, they drop you. You'll have butterflies in your stomach. And they release you. It's like that, you're slowly going up and then falling down. He's going to talk about that falling from all angles. From the material wealth angle, from the physical health angle, from the emotional relationships angle, from the intellectual respect, regard, value angle, from all these angles. So, when you are therefore slowly moving towards the height of all that, you should invest in the spiritual, which is permanent. So, jitna, how much sattva, rajas, tamas you've managed, how much sattva you increased, how much rajas you reduced, how much tamas you eliminated. You got to understand that. Because that's what is important. That's what is going to come with you. Nothing else is going to come with you. So you keep on doing that calculation. To keep on doing the calculation means keep on working at it. Because anytime anything can happen. So tonight when you go to sleep, just if you want to take accounts of your life, have I reduced rajas and tamas? Have I increased sattva? Then I've lived my day perfectly. That's what he's saying. Otherwise, when you had everything and you lose it, see, first of all, the very pursuit is very painful. And there's no guarantee that you will get it. So that is even more painful. Then somehow, after so much of hard work, you get it. There's no guarantee that you will retain it. So that no guarantee goes on haunting you with so much of sorrow. And then when actually you lose it, you're gone. You're finished. You understand? That's what he's saying. So that is the sorrow he's talking about. It's smitten with sorrow if you are continuing to identify with the body, mind, intellect. But if you understood all this and you are prepared mentally and you are only dealing with them with your left hand, meaning jitna importance unka de usko dena denge. I remember one gentleman was in a very high position in the government departments. So for some of our work, we need to meet so many people. So once I had gone to meet the gentleman, it's a perfect Vedantin, very calm, serene person he is. He said, I am retiring in 2-3 months' time. In that department, he is the highest level. I am retiring in 2-3 months' time. When I leave this office, and next day, for whatever reasons, if I had to make a phone call and I make a phone call to my office people, some people may not even lift the phone to answer my call. This is life. So the real value is for the kursi, not for me. I must understand that. It's for the chair, not for me. So the power is coming from where? So what is life? Again, Swamiji gives a nice interesting example in his books. You see, when you go to buy a bulb in the shop, when you buy the bulb, you say 100 watts bulb de do. Does it glow when he gives the bulb? It doesn't. Right? You connect the bulb, you test it out before bringing it to your house. He will have a socket there, you put it in and switch on. Then it will glow. So, when the electricity passes through the tungsten filament in the bulb, then the expression of light. Are you with me? Similarly, this body is the bulb. Tungsten filament is the subtle body. In that example. When electricity, the Atma, expresses through the subtle body and the gross body, there is life. When the tungsten filament will give up, we don't know. Right? As per our karma, prarabdha karma, we studied, no. When it will give up, we don't know. It may give up any time. Then what will happen? That expression of light, that life will not be there. So when this expression of life, that light is there, and it's shining through this body, mind, intellect, if I identify with the body, mind, intellect as an end all and be all of life, then my life will be smitten by sorrow. If I identify with the Atma, then it won't be smitten by sorrow. That's all. So this discrimination we need to do and rightly invest in our essential self. This is what he says. Be prepared. Before the world kicks you, you kick it. You kick it means mentally lose the value for it or place the right value for it. When you have placed the right value for it, it cannot give you sorrow. This is giving you sorrow today because you have not placed the right value. Today I had to come to this class at 11:30. Class, I generally try to come 10-15 minutes early so that I can relax and then start the class. Today the driver was not there, so I had to drive myself. So I said, let me leave well in advance, and left around 9:55. Just about managed to reach here 10 minutes ago. Because I did proper assessment. This is in spite of Google telling you it will take only 55 minutes. Because in between, because the distance is so much, sometimes the traffic jam happens. Suddenly. Which Google can't predict, right? So what I'm saying is, when you have a proper assessment, there is no undue expectations. When there is no undue expectation, there is no disappointment. So when he says, this life is smitten with sorrow for a person who has no assessment or wrong assessment. Lack of assessment or wrong assessment. As a result, what happens? Undue expectation. And with undue expectation, you will have disappointments, which is sorrow. So what you do? Do right assessment. He's telling you. You have come into this world, na? Do proper assessment about your body, about your mind, about your intellect, about the wealth, about the name, fame, about the relationships, about everything. And then live life. Then you will not have this sorrow. Then you will not have this pride. If you have given into attachment to the body or the ego, then there will be sorrow. Through identification with the Atma, if you have not given into the attachment to body and ego, body, mind and ego, then there is no sorrow. So, the samsara is this only. That is why he says, this is why, that's why it's called as knowledge of life and living. Vedanta is nothing but life management. So very, very interesting words here. Water on a lotus leaf is extremely unsteady. So also is life very unstable. We have no idea. So therefore he says, utilize the time positively. Don't unnecessarily get involved. As if acquisition and enjoyment is end all and be all of life. We'll conclude. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Om Kayena Vacha Manasendriyairva Buddhyatmana va Prakrite Swabhavat Karomi Yadhyad Sakalam Parasmai Narayana Yeti Samarpayami.